Back to the Beach Chair Chats. Brian here today. I'm delighted to have a great guest who's s- just does all these great things, but she's in a very sunny place compared to where I'm at right now in New England. It's Gigi Santos. You're down in Florida. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic, Brian. Thank you so much for having me. And yes, you're absolutely right. It is shining bright and a solid about 89 degrees out here. So,
Is it 89 hot? See, the thing is, I'm fair. I'm not fair weather, but this like
Mhm.
southern hemisphere, I would melt. Is it like? What's the beaches like? I know they're beautiful down there, but is it like walking on like the surface of the sun? Is that how hot it is down there in those beaches, or no?
No, it honestly depends on what beach you're at.
Okay.
If you are walking from the parking lot to the beach and you're going barefoot, then yes, you will definitely
You
burn
have
off
no
the
souls. Yeah,
soles of
they're
your feet for sure. But if you're just getting from the tent that is already on the sand to the water, it feels it's nice and soft, and we actually have real sand out here. So, and ironically enough, yesterday I saw the sunrise at the beach.
nice.
So it is just incomparable to anything else.
Are you a
And
sunrise girl or sunset girl?
you know, I'm actually a sunset girl, but
Okay.
here's the thing. Sometimes I feel like we just don't take advantage of the things that we have right in our corner.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had thought, well, the sun rises from the east, so it's been a minute. Why not just go out there and take a look of what it actually looks like? And it was just beautiful, incomparable. It's been such a time that I
Mm-hmm.
haven't done that. So I think I might just switch from sunset to sunrise.
Well, see, I'm a sunrise person. I had a good one this morning because it's gonna rain, which it is raining now, so it was nice and red. So it was, I saw it happening. I jumped out of my bed and it's like, okay, I'm gonna go capture this because I feel like I gotta take a photo, one of many photos I have of the sunrise. It's ridiculous, but like a paparazzi for the sunset and sunrise is crazy.
It really is. It
Yeah.
really is. Funny enough, I mean, it's Miami Beach, so everybody's out there, but I was surprised to see how many people purposely go to the beach to watch the sunrise. And then you see everybody like this,
Oh yeah.
holding the camera, just
I
taking the videos, taking the pictures. And then as soon as it's up, everybody's gone.
I know it's like it's done. Like it did its thing. The sun's like I did my thing. Peace out. Okay, everybody. I showed up again. People say, when's the sunrise? It happens every day. But anyways, so fun fact.
Exactly.
So you, if you had to like describe yourself without describing the words coach, mentor, or speaker, how would you describe yourself and what you do?
Oh, such a great question, Brian. I am the hype woman that will refuse to allow you to sit down, to give up on your dreams, and to quit, because I like to remind everybody that quitters never win and winners never quit. So I would say I'm the certified hype woman in the room or on the podcast right now.
Well, heck, you could be my hype woman for this podcast if I ever get burned out. It's like keep doing it, keep doing it. So how do
Gotcha.
you hype? Well, so if someone needs hyped up, so what's your process? If someone comes, he's like, I'm going through this.
Mhm.
How do you help them, like, get them going?
Funny enough, Brian, that most people don't start off with just saying, "Hey, I'm going through this." We live in a time where there's so many different resources for us. Social media, we could just go and call our friends, or we have our family members. Now we have mental health tools like BetterHelp, things that where you're getting therapy. But a lot of different people use their own different methods. The way in which I like to first be aware of the situation is honestly just inserting myself, just showing up with who it is that I am, of what's going on with the day. I'm a person that, believe it or not, Brian, hype woman as I could be, I don't drink coffee, I don't drink Red Bull. I just go off
So,
of the energy of the sun and oxygen. And so when I first meet somebody or even a client that I've been working with for some time, I always like to instill whatever energy it is that I have. It's
hmm
kind of like a charger. Whatever it is that surrounds, you want to be able to give off that energy so
hmm
that you never know what type of day another person's having, what's on their minds.
Yeah.
Although, with being able to show up as you are and giving them that type of energy, you never know. Maybe you're just flipping their day around completely. I've actually had a couple of times where I even meet strangers, and even with my face or with my voice, say, "Hey, how are you? What's going on?" Oh, that I start talking about something random, And then they come up to me and they actually become vulnerable and start being open. And that's when they
Hmm.
say something like, you know, I was going through this before you were just talking right now. You know, I was thinking about this the whole time. But now that you're saying that, I'm hearing you out,
Hmm.
I'm not even thinking about that anymore. You're absolutely right. Like it is a good day to have a good day, because most of the time we're all human beings sharing the same earth. We all have some problems,
We all
but it's
do.
always
Yes.
best to move forward with a solution that the past is the past. Right now it's the present. That's why it's a gift. And whatever future it is that you can make, you can continue to make it from this moment on. And so that's pretty much my method on flipping things around for them, because once you start giving off that energy, people are more open to be
Hmm.
vulnerable and open-minded with you and tell you what's really going on. Nobody wants to be negative and sad all the time. We want to be ready for the next thing.
We definitely, well, we live in a really, it's the world sometimes feels a little too negative. I mean,
Yes.
especially as you talk about social media, and
Yeah.
if you go down a rabbit hole, you can be exposed to so much stuff. You know, it might cause people to be more cold or more standoffish a little bit. Um, do people sometimes react like when you come up and say hello, hey, just kind of shock them off guard, like I do to my students? They just walk down the hallways, hugging the walls with their headphones on, plugged into a device, and they shock them by saying hello, and like throws them into like a short circuiting or something weird. And so, do you ever find people to be at first kind of reserved a little bit? Yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely. People are so unique. You know, they're right. Remember, there's 8 billion people on this earth, and
it's a
not
lot of people.
everybody is going to be reacting the same way to the same exact thing. I actually have this exercise that I practice pretty much every day. So, I used to live in an apartment complex where I would just walk around and just do my daily walks. A lot of people would either be on calls, or they're walking their dog, or they're just smoking a cigarette. And so I do this thing that no matter who it is, what it is that they're doing, I walk by them. And if they're not doing anything specifically, then I'll just
Hmm.
hi, wave, smile. And if they say hi, then great. And if they don't, then oh well.
Yeah.
You'll be surprised that someone that's so serious and so locked into what it is that they're doing, whether it's the walk or walking the dog or on the phone,
Hmm.
it just turns their day around when it's unexpected for them, for a stranger to just walk by and smile like that. That's weird.
I
What? Like,
know.
ever since COVID, Brian, I feel like people are just sometimes unfamiliar with
Hmm.
making those connections outside of their norm or outside of the phone.
Yeah.
Although, same exact situation. Someone's walking their dog, and I'll say, "Hey," and they'll wave back and they'll smile and keep on walking. Versus another situation, literally 5 minutes. I posted this on TikTok the other day, 5 minutes after, where I wave and smile, and the person looks at me with in the corner of their eye, like, what the heck is wrong with this weirdo here?
Just trust people here.
Yeah, and it's
Well,
okay. I just walk by it and then just say, all right.
I noticed that where I live too, and you would think, because I live in Connecticut near the water, and there's a lot of wealthy people. I'm not one of them, but I say hi to them in the morning. I'm out for a run, or like just grumble, like, "Why are you so miserable? You
Yes.
live by the water. You have every. Why are? Is it either they're just grumpy or they just like, I'm better than this. I don't have to engage the common folk." So
So good.
I
It's
don't,
like I like to say that we were put on this earth for human connection. Like, could you imagine a world where it's just you and you only?
it'd be boring.
How would you go around just doing things? You have to go to the store and check
Hmm.
yourself out, or now you're cooking by like, no, no, no. We're here for human interaction, for human connection. Of course, we all have our preferences, although life's too short to be grumpy and just mad
Yeah.
all the time.
Well, they always talk about introverts and extroverts. Even introverts do need connection. Whether they introverts aren't people who are like, I don't want to talk to people. They
Yes,
do, but they just need a moment to
exactly.
process. They're not anti-socialization, but they're not out there saying good morning to people, but they will engage, and to that point. When we talk about fear too, I know I want to talk about that. It's a concept of self-doubt and decision making and fear. Kind of dive into that a little bit too. How often do you see fear disguised as something else that people might project it as, well, I'm afraid to do this, I'm afraid to try this? How do you help people through that?
Absolutely. I actually have a three-step process when it comes to fear. The thing is, Brian, we have to be real with ourselves. Fear is a human thing. And we oftentimes try and stay away from it as much as possible. Although the more we try and push something away, the more it's actually the forefront of what's actually happening sometimes. Think about it. Somebody that is scared of public speaking, for example, the day that they are asked to give a presentation in front of everybody, they're feeling certain things in their body, they're hearing a
Hmm.
certain self-talk in their mind. And the first step to my three-step process is awareness. What is going on, right? So whether that's awareness of hearing yourself talk, what are the words that are going through your mind? Are you saying things like, oh my gosh, I don't know what they're going to say. What if they judge me? What if I mess up? What if I fail? No,
Yeah.
what those things are all signs of fear,
Hmm.
because on the other side of all of those thoughts could be the best time ever, maybe the best experience that you would be able to have, but you're not allowing them to because they're disguised, just as you had said, they're
Hmm.
disguised behind this self talk, this negative self talk that is actually something that's natural within all of us. And it's protection of
Hmm.
maybe the worst thing that could happen. And so the first step is awareness. Awareness of the self talk, awareness of the body. Are you shaking? Are you sweating all of a
Hmm.
sudden? Right? What is it that's going on? The second thing is to make a decision, right? Are you going to actively make the decision that this self talk and these feelings are going to overpower you? That person that's waiting to get on stage, that is scared of public speaking, although wants to do this, rather than making the decision that this will overpower me, that this fear is going to disrupt me during what it is that I'm focusing on. Rather than thinking that way, how about what I like to say to all of my clients, to anybody that I go in front of, is, are you going to decide to grab fear by the neck and
Hmm.
say, hey, fear, thank you for coming. You're not invited here. Please step out, because right now I'm so excited
Hmm.
about the end result of me going up to this audience. So it's about decision making. So, first step is awareness, what's going on. And then the second step is decision making of how it is that I'm going to be reacting to this physically, mentally, emotionally. And then
Hmm.
the third step, it's taking the action, right? You can start to convince yourself, oh, I'm not going to be afraid anymore. I'm not going to be nervous anymore. I don't want to sweat anymore. But now, when it's time to shine, you need to be able to put in the actions towards it. And sometimes it's just habits that need to be built. The person that's going up to the stage for the first time will not feel as nervous as the person that's going on for the
Hmm.
100th time, for example. And so it just takes the awareness of the body. What is it that's going on in your mind and your head? And that's what happens when I start working with people, or even big groups, even audiences. It's just, hey, what is going on in your mind and your body? All right, decide how it is that you want to handle it, because if you decide that it will disrupt you, it absolutely will
Hmm.
disrupt you. And then finally, taking the action. Are we going to continue to think these thoughts, or are we going to now rewire that so that it actually serves us to get the favorable result that we want? And so, fear, it's going to be there, my friend. If you're
Hmm.
listening to this and you've been scared about something,
Yes.
it's going to be there, but it's about what you do with it and the result that you want to achieve.
Well, it's like me with this thing. I've never been a social media savant here,
Mhm.
right? And I don't do videos. And it's like when I decided to pull the trigger on this thing, it took 2 years for me to decide to do it, right? And then I'm like, okay, I do text, I do audio. Do I have to do video? Yes, I'm gonna do video, right? Do I have to do a TikTok? I created TikTok. At first, it just felt weird because I'm not young and I'm not old either, but I'm like, at the stage where I'm at, like, I don't do TikTok. I always make jokes with my students about wasting time and say the sound my clock makes behind me is the sound TikTok because they waste a lot of time on TikTok, and they're like, yeah, I know. But if you're gonna be on TikTok, follow my podcast. And they're like, yeah, they're like, you have a podcast, okay? They don't follow me, so which is good. But fear is a thing, right? And it's a
Mhm.
real. It is because we're always concerned, right, about what, like I said, what people are gonna say about us. What do they think about us? It's like even go to the beach, right? Do I have the beach bod yet? Because it's winter. Do I have to be ready for spring and summer? What are people gonna say, right? And so it is
Absolutely.
crippling because we get caught in our own self, right? Even social media is a presentation of our best self,
Mhm.
even though it may not be. You see all the filteredness, you see all the kind of layers upon things. It's real, but it's something you can overcome, right? Which is, I
Yes.
want to flip it a little bit because you talked about faith, right? Because with fear,
Mhm.
there's faith, right? As you know, it sounds like you're a very spiritual person. I'm a
Yes.
spiritual person too. I'm not a church person anymore, but I don't disvalue it, but I do believe having faith in something. Talk a little bit about that and how faith gets you
Absolutely.
through fear.
Yes, absolutely. You know, Brian, I'm so glad that you brought that up because faith could mean a different thing to everybody. Faith could just mean faith. A lot of people are named Faith.
Hmm.
When you go across these people, sometimes they're just a magnetic light, someone that you come across and you're just like, wow, you're just so happy. You make
Hmm.
me want to be around you all the time. A person. Faith.
Hmm.
Faith could also think about the idea that, oh, you know what? I believe that this is going to happen. I have full faith that
Hmm.
this is going to work. Think about a business idea, or even just like how you just described, Brian, TikTok. I have faith that that some of my students are going to follow me and take a look at my podcast, right?
Well, I did
Or
have one of my clients that I do private practice with follow me on TikTok. Don't think about that. It was like, what? Okay. Okay.
You see, so it's just like it's a really strong belief,
Hmm.
but then there's another level of faith where we tie it to religion. I like to say that whether you believe in God, Buddha, Allah, uh, Krishna, anything, it is the power that comes within you that gives you almost that belief that there's no possible way that this cannot be true. It gives you
Hmm.
that initial state of trust in something, in a being, in an experience, in yourself, right? There's many different ways in which you could do the same exact thing, is what I like to say, but it is up to you what works best for you. And so I actually remember this from one of my psychology classes in high school, where I believe it was Carl Jung that had
Hmm.
said that faith is a crutch, or religion is a crutch.
Hmm.
And we could all see it in that way. Although whatever it is that you believe in, or whether you don't believe in anything, there is something in your mind, in your
Hmm.
heart, in your body, in your soul
Yeah.
that tells you a certain thing where when you're going for something that it may or may not work. Most of the
Hmm.
time when something does work, it's because you already had those initial thoughts. And that's not your brain, that's not your heart, that is your actual being as a human being.
Hmm.
So when I like to say that I like to connect with my faith and I'm faith based in order to move along, I'm a sole believer that we are only on this earth for a certain amount of time. So, are you going to actually believe that you are limited to whatever it is that's been shown to you in
Hmm.
your past experiences? Or can you also believe that God, Buddha, Allah had put you on this earth with specific people on purpose to go through specific experiences on purpose? And
Hmm.
that those things that you believe are the wildest dreams that may never come true are actually something that, if possible, if you put your best foot forward, can actually be possible. Like, Brian, we are living in 2026 where cars are driving by themselves.
It
We
scares
are
me.
able to bring up this little square thing into our hand and now see and talk with
I
our loved
know.
ones on the other side of the world. And now we could just talk to it and we could ask it any question in the world and it just comes up with something. yeah, anything is possible at
I
this
will, I
point.
will say that if you talk about self-driving cars, actually, those don't scare me as much. I think people who text and drive scare me. Those are the worst. That if you want to talk about fear, that makes me fearful because I don't know what the heck they're doing. Sometimes they honk at them. The one day I do that, it's gonna have bad effects, and they might freak out and have, I hope not, have a really bad accident. I don't need that. That'd be fearful for me as well because I don't want to scare them, but it terrifies. You see the lane switching and it slows down. You know what they're doing.
Absolutely.
Fearful. I'm fearful for the other people. It's real fear.
Absolutely.
Now let me ask you this. You can talk about faith. When you've put your
Yes.
faith into something and it didn't go as planned, how do
Mhm.
you regroup from that?
Okay, you know what, Brian? I'm actually going to connect that with what we were talking about earlier. Fear. Fear is a
Hmm.
natural thing. Although we are usually scared about something that we think is the end of the world. I actually heard this the other day. What's the worst? I think it was Lori Harder. And actually, no, Lori from from Shark Tank. I
Okay.
heard this video. She was getting interviewed, and she said, "What's the worst thing that could happen?" And the interviewer had said, "Oh, a worst thing that could happen is a no." And then she had responded with, "The worst thing that could happen is that you die.
Hmm.
That's it. That's the worst thing that could happen."
Hmm.
And so most of us think that going into a situation that we're fearful of, about the worst possible situations, although the actual worst possible situations is that you die,
Yeah.
where behind that, it's just rejection. It's
Hmm.
just judgment. It's just the fact that, okay, nobody showed up. But did you die? No,
Hmm.
absolutely not. There are always worse things that could happen. And so when it comes to the fear of failure and things not going out your way, those are all just lessons. I don't
Yeah.
believe in failure. I just believe in lessons, where something that you think it's a oops, it's a mistake.
Hmm.
A mistake could be dropping a water bottle and spilling it all over the floor.
Especially
Or
since I
you
have a
could
water
say,
bottle. I have a water bottle here now. It's probably gonna happen now. I'm gonna
there
pick
you
up and
go.
take a drink. I'm gonna drop it right all over the place.
No, don't say that, Brian, because then it's actually gonna happen. You're like manifesting it
I
live
know.
right
It's put
now.
in the universe.
No.
I'm just, where's my lid at? Um,
But in that same context, you could think about it in that way where, okay, this is the possibility that it might happen, but overall, it's not the worst thing that could happen,
hmm?
right? Because you could go right after this and just pick it up or wait till after, or there's so many possibilities. Although it's a learning lesson. Now, Brian, that needs to have the cap on.
It's it's right here. Got the cap. It's gonna be
There
right
you
over
go.
here, and it's moving my hand away from the bottle. So it's so think about it in this way, and as we get close to wrapping up here, faith and
Mm,
fear and success is, like I said, the worst case we could do is, like I said, the worst case scenario is you die. But we wake up, we have a life of choices, right? That's all we do. We get up, like we live in the present. We're presented with a series of choices, no matter what it is. You could have chose to do this, chose not to do this podcast. Here we are, right? Lots of things happen throughout the hours we're awake throughout the day. Then we get up, see the nice sunrise, do it again, right? And then have the promise of more opportunities to make good choices. Now, let me ask you this question of a choice, right? It's kind of a fun fact question. If
mm.
you could have coffee or maybe a cocktail on the beach with anybody, author, historical person, who would you want to sit on the beach to have a conversation with about this topic?
Oh, so good. Okay, anybody,
Anybody?
anybody. Before I say the person, I'll have to say some of my runner-ups are like Michael Jackson, Ed
Mhm.
Milet, Tony Robbins.
Okay.
But the main person that I would like to sit with on the beach and speak to about decision making, about fear, is Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Now, whether you believe it in or not, right? Here's the thing. You have the number one selling book of all time on earth
Hmm.
written about this person, about this being.
Hmm.
And you could only imagine right? And if you're open minded, you can only imagine everybody on this earth, anybody that has ever been written about, has some type of story and has certain type of knowledge.
Yeah.
None of us is perfect and none of us knows absolutely everything. Although, but what is being learned, what's being said, and if you read the Bible yourself, you'll get to recognize Jesus was quite knowledgeable about these
Hmm.
things. So I would sit on the beach with Jesus, asking him, "Hey, can you tell me about how to discern a good decision from a bad decision? Because sometimes when I'm feeling down and I feel like I made a bad decision, and although I don't believe in failure and I know it's a lesson, it hurts. So how can I deal with that hurt a little bit more? It doesn't matter of how much of a hype woman, how much positivity and how much energy I bring off. You
Hmm.
know, we're all human beings at the end, and we want to come up with better ways on how to live this life before we're gone. So, any tips would help. Thank you so much."
I would ask this question to Jesus on the
Yes.
beach. I'm like, is salt water a great to turn into wine? I know you turn water into wine as a thing, but would it have a different kind of like notes to it with the salt water? I don't know. Got the little fingers and twirl it. I don't know. Would you have that moment of asking Jesus to turn the salt water into wine because I'm out? So, but hey,
Absolutely.
but see, the thing with the Bible, I have read it, cover to cover. The Old Testament's not a page turner. A lot of stuff going on of the Old Testament. I skipped the lineage part because I'm like, I don't need who the prodigal, the lineage of this son of who, and this is the brother of this. I skip those parts because it's like boring. I don't care.
Yes. Oh
Because
my gosh, yes.
no one read about those people. It's like there's David, cool, and there's other people,
Yes.
right? But they always say the Bible itself, right? Whether
Mm,
religious or not, is in a sense, quote, a love letter,
mhm.
but it's not written by Jesus himself. The people wrote the book about him and the experiences and observations. But again, it is always about choice. There's always that consequence of human beings. We're not perfect. We just try to live our best life and do good things every single day. We get
That's
up
it.
with a positive vibe, positive energy to make the world a better place, right?
Absolutely.
So, quick question: you just sent me some beach photos of yourself, right? What are these? Where are these photos? This is you.
So, yeah, that was actually a photo shoot that I did with my friends, and I wanted to spice up my portfolio. That is actually on the other side of the Julia Tuttle Bridge in Miami.
Okay,
So there's a bridge that separates. And yes, if you're listening to this and you've never been to Miami,
never been.
Miami and Miami Beach are two completely different places. Fun
Okay,
fact, Miami Beach is an island. It
okay.
is an island that it has a bridge over to it, and you could drive over this bridge and you get to Miami Beach, and it's crazy traffic and things are always happening out there. So I like to stay on the inland part of Miami. And we just have the most beautiful views. And that park specifically, I don't remember what the name of it is. We like to give everything nicknames down here. I call it the Domino Park because there's just a huge stacked dominoes in the front that is just so Miami. It's
Hmm.
actually an M. And so I took a couple of pictures there along the sidewalk, along the boardwalk, on the
Hmm.
tree, just because it was a beautiful day. The water was beautiful and clear. And I said, why not? It can't get more Miami than this. And
Exactly.
yes.
What quick question? What would Jesus say about Miami Beach? Would he
Oh,
would he have comments?
that is so good.
Would he
I
like bless you
think,
people?
yes.
Too
You know,
much
you
wine.
you are all my children and I love you all no matter what, but let's start getting it together,
Come on,
people.
people.
Let's yeah, but
Yeah.
it's the bigger what I think about that's very similar to other cities. Think California,
Hmm.
think Los Angeles, think New York, think Houston, Texas. These are huge cities with so many people and they're all going through so many different
Hmm.
experiences, and if we have the joy of experiencing all of this beauty around us, why not take advantage of it? And so that's why we have such bad traffic out here in Miami,
Hmm.
because maybe that's part of your faith or Jesus is trying to test you.
I
Are you
think
going to honk at that person in front of you, or
it
are you going to smile at them and then wish them a good day as they
it's
just cut you off?
they just cut you off, or like some of the things that people say in cars and traffic. Like I find myself just like, wow, I said that. I should write that down. That was good. All right. Before we wrap up, though, I know you want to give you some time to talk about is it the quick decision making checklist that you sent me? Talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. I like to tell anybody when it comes to fear is always going to be there. And within our lives, we want to be able to live the life that is most fitting to us. And so sometimes we stop ourselves from making the decision that is dear and clear to our heart because of so many factors, because we might get judged, because this person said this before, because they tried this and it didn't work. Whatever it is your main responsibility to become that successful person. And you're not going to become that successful person that you have in your dreams in your mind if you continue to think about all of these outside factors. The
Hmm.
most important person that can make a decision for you is you.
Hmm.
And so, what I like to tell everybody is that you know exactly what to do. You just need to act on it. You just need to act like it. And so I made this quick decision checklist that would allow anybody, and no matter what situation, serious, big or small, or non so serious, a 5 step checklist where you'll be able to go through it step by step, and then by the end of the checklist you will know and have the decision at the palm of your hands. And so I'm going to go ahead and provide that to your audience today,
Perfect.
for free, so that any decisions that you have in your life, you don't have to be scared about it, you don't have to overthink it, you just go through it, because the best person that can make this decision is you.
100%. Well, Gigi, you've been a delight. You've been having, it's been fun having you on today. You have a lot of energy, a lot of, even as the storm's rolling through here right now, it's kind of a cloudy day, but you bring a ray of sunshine here from the Sunshine State, right? So it's been a pleasure having you on today, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the sunshine down there, and we'll keep in touch.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Brian. I appreciate it. And let's go.